My God. What a win for the Phoenix Suns last night. We got to dive into all of it. There's not a ton of time to do so. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need him. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like callus. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up, guys? Welcome into yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. It is so good to see the good vibes in the chat this morning. The Phoenix Suns get a massive win last night against the Milwaukee Bucks. And I've got to be honest with you. There's a couple of different ways we can spin this, but I'm not exactly sure where we go. I didn't think the Suns were capable of moving off of what was a lackluster 50-something games to start the season, 60-something games to start the season, to where they are now. So follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And remember, we are streaming every morning, 6 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow all things Ben Garcia Show. Aaron, Michael, Brian, Sandman, all in the chat this morning. So thankful that you guys are there. Let's start here. Phoenix Suns get a good win last night against the Milwaukee Bucks. And there's a lot of things to get into. I'm looking at some of the things that Aaron is saying in the chat and Sandman asking if Bud can save his job. Let's just go here because I think this is interesting. Aaron makes a good point. You beat the Bucks without Portis and Lillard. Calm down. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Aaron is a Midwest guy. So, there is probably a little bit of some bias there. Nothing wrong with that. But let's just go here. Everyone else in the chat that I know have been watching the Phoenix Suns for every single day. You kind of look at it like this. We've watched the Suns play the Nets, Toronto a couple of weeks ago. It doesn't matter who it was. They were getting ran out of the building against bad teams. Teams that didn't have their star players. It's not just the corner of the Suns beating the Milwaukee Bucks last night without Damian Lillard. For weeks, months, we were watching the Suns play teams without their star players and still getting smacked around. That's what happened with the Cardinals. I'm sorry, that's what happened with the Suns. This is a corner that is being turned. The only issue is it might be a little late. And that's tough for us to be able to get our arms around. And the clarity might be going out the window because before we knew exactly what the Suns were going to do in the offseason. Move on from Durant, try to move on from Beal, start anew with the next great Phoenix Suns team. I didn't think they had it in them to do something like this. And last night was a real changing of the guards. I was at the game last night, clearly. I'm at every single Suns game. Suns home game. That energy was infectious. Absolutely infectious. That was the first time I had been in a Suns game where it felt like 2021, 2022 vibes. I don't know if they can continue this stretch, and with the Celtics coming up on Wednesday, you kind of want to see Jason Tatum play so you can see what this team is going to be giving themselves into the next couple of weeks, and if they can continue to move this type of vibe into the playoffs. But with no Jason Tatum on Wednesday, just from a pure fan perspective, the Suns win that game. We're not talking about anymore of getting the 10 seed. We're talking about getting the 9 seed. And then potentially winning back-to-back games against the 10 seed, and then whoever it is, the loser of the 7-8 game, and seeing what they could do against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, listen, the Thunder are, that's so far down the road. And they probably still would beat the Suns. But the question is, have they turned a corner? And even more so, why? What did the Suns do differently? I think ultimately what has happened is Bud is trusting rookies and allowing the energetic guys, infectious energy guys, to play more, and for those guys to make mistakes and allow them to short memory, go out there, be infectious, have energy, and that kind of stuff just spreads like wildfire. I continuously say this. Cody Martin last night didn't play a ton of minutes, and for the most part was bricking every single shot that he throws up. But I got to be honest with you, that guy is infectious. He plays with energy. Colin Gillespie, it always feels like he's making the right play. Every single time. Doesn't turn it over, makes the right pass, finds the open guy. And then you go over to guys like Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro. It is a massive, fireable offense that Ryan Dunn was sitting on the bench for as long as he was. Oso Ighodaro, I was the one that said, what are we doing? Why are we sending this guy to the G League? He has the ability to be the best big on this team. Now, Oso last night took his licks. Down low, Brook Lopez was kind of bullying him a little bit. Giannis Antetokounmpo is always going to get his, but he bullied Oso Ighodaro a bit. But you have to let those guys make mistakes, take their licks. And even if I thought Oso didn't have an insane game, I thought in spurts he was important, and Bud trusted him to close that game. He pulled out Nick Richards, stuck Oso Ighodaro in. So the Suns have kind of put themselves in a little bit of a hole here, because the best they can do is the Thunder in the first round. But with this team, you wonder how far they can go if they play exactly like this. And that is that is asking for a lot. But if you lined up the best players in a potential Thunder-Suns matchup, the Suns have two of the best three players in that series. And I know people are massive fans of SGA, but in any given night, I'm taking Kevin Durant over SGA. And when you have the best player in the series that can take over series, we've seen what can happen. Now, I'm not picking the Thunder to beat the Suns. That's crazy. But what I gotta say about it all is there is a different vibe about this team. There is a different attitude about this team. And it's come not from the guys that you think it would, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. It's the misfits, Colin Gillespie, and the rookies, Cody Martin. Grayson Allen played 12 minutes last night. Bud has leaned into this infectious energy. That's what we've been missing for months. It felt like last night, being at that game, it felt like we rewinded to the first couple of weeks of the season when the Suns were flying high. And the ball's moving better. The rookies are playing and having a real impact on the games. And you just wonder how far that this energy can take you. But the question is, have the Suns turned a corner? Yes. I think it is as clear as day that the Phoenix Suns have turned a corner. However, the question is it too late? And there is a real rejuvenation that the Phoenix Suns are playing well. And they could get into the playoffs and they can make some noise. The issue is they've set themselves up with the date with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And as mentioned before, I'm taking Kevin Durant over SGA any day of the week. Any day of the week. It doesn't mean that the Oklahoma City Thunder aren't going to beat the Suns. But why you have to just get into the dance is because you just need that. You just need to get in. Once you get in, anything can happen. And this team turning a corner is great. You just wonder if it was a little too late, a couple of steps late. But hey, you get in, you get into the dance, you play the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sure, they might have guys 3 through 10. If you listed out the best 10 players in a series, the Thunder might have 4 through 10. But I think you have 1 and 3 in Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Of course, Kevin Durant being 1, Devin Booker being 3. Stick SGA at 2, and things could break in your favor. Anyways, guys, massive win for the Suns last night. Massive win. And I gotta be frank. Although the Bucks were missing some key guys, no one a month ago would have taken the Suns to beat the Bucks. No one. Even if they were missing both guys. But there's a new swagger and attitude about this team. And what I love the most about this Suns team is the thing I love the most recently about this Suns team is not just that they're winning games and they're doing it with this infectious energy, dive after the ball, gritty mentality. It's because for weeks, months, I was screaming, this team gets punched in the mouth, they don't stand back up. But what they've been doing over the past 4 games, and it's a small sample size, but when they get punched in the face, they are starting to get a bit of a jaw. They stand right back up and they deliver their own punch. And it's the thing that I went after Kevin Durant for because this mentality of this team has been soft, and he's been the best player on this team. Now, I got to be honest. Kevin Durant has led this charge. Suns get punched in the mouth. Kyle Kuzma, it's a corner 3, puts this team up late in this game after the Suns were up 101 to 96. Kevin Durant goes back down the court, hits a 3. That is the type of stand up after you've gotten knocked down mentality. And that's what has changed the most for this team. It's not the 3-point shot. It's not the pick and roll. It's not backdoor cuts. It's the mentality of, you hit us, that's fine. We're going to stand back up and punch you right in the face 10 times harder. And I don't know if it was a player that wasn't playing last night that deserves the blame for that mentality. But what I know is the biggest thing is the Suns are changing who they are, and that is infectious. Playing with a carefree mentality. It's rejuvenated, and it's what I've wanted to see from the Suns team for months. And when they get punched in the face, they get back up. And that's what we've seen over the last 4 games. And last night, where they blow a small lead, but late in that 4th quarter, they get up and they figure it out and they deliver their own punch of their own and they win the match. Or I guess in this case, they win the game. Of course, I'm speaking in boxing terms. That's what you had to see. A different mentality from this Phoenix Suns team. All right. I wanted to go here really quickly. The Arizona Cardinals. I got to be honest with you as I take a swig of my water because I had a bunch of strawberries this morning. Makes my Mouth a little dry. All right, let's go here. I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was interesting. There has been a lot of, I think, artificial praise for the Arizona Cardinals offseason, where I went on with AZ Sports Fan a couple of days ago, and he asked me flat out, what do you think of the Cardinals offseason? What grade would you give it? And of course, I gave it a solid B-. I thought there was things to be left on the table, but I gotta be honest. Giving them a C would feel disingenuous because they did fill up some holes. Dalvin Tomlinson in the middle, Josh Sweat on this team as well, his ability to get to the passer. But what I feel like the Arizona Cardinals have been doing is, if we're doing a cross-sport reference, is they've been hitting a lot of singles, some doubles. But sometimes you got to hit the long ball. And what I think is so concerning about Monti Ossenfort this far into his tenure as the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals is really just this. He's not aggressive. And aggressive wins in sports. Now, of course, you can be the Packers. You can have a 401k. You can be the Celtics. And for years and years, you just take all these chips and wait to strategically put them in the middle. You could be the Oklahoma City Thunder. You could have all these picks and stockpile them. Or you could be one of these careful teams. The Packers. The Steelers now at this point. But what doesn't win is just waiting for the game to come to you. Sometimes you got to be aggressive. It's why I've thrown out things like Trey Hendrickson, like Micah Parsons. You have to be willing to take a loss in the moment so that later on you potentially could win a trade or win a big signing, overpay a little bit. And you're not doing this for everyone. You're not just willy-nilly overpaying for everyone. And you're not just giving up a second-round pick just to give up a second-round pick for Trey Hendrickson. You're not just giving those things up. But aggressive wins in sports. And I have been a little disappointed in the Cardinals offseason because, yeah, sure, it's a B-, but I needed them to have an A offseason. I think anyone... Now, the Cardinals might be, right? I'm not going to, poo-poo over all of it. The Cardinals might be a playoff team next year. But if I just told you, if you add Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Jacoby Brissett, the small free agent signings that they've had that no one's talked about, if I just told you, if you add those players to last year's team, do they make the playoffs? I'd still probably say no. And it's not what I'm rooting for. I want this team in the playoffs. But I think there is a little bit of a concern that the Arizona Cardinals don't have that second wide receiver aside from Marvin Harrison Jr. I think the cornerbacks are missing a veteran. As much as I would like to see Asante Samuel Jr. here, I got to be honest with you. Everything I'm seeing is he's just a horrible, piss-poor tackler. Defensively, outside of Asante Samuel, they still don't have a linebacker. Their pass rush is fine. So, although I'd give the Cardinals a passing grade for their offseason, and I think a B or a B- is perfectly fair, anything over that I think is disingenuous. I agree with all that. A B- offseason. But I kind of wanted them to have an A because they have all this money to spend in free agency. They have the ability to move up in the draft or, I don't know, trade back and get a boatload of picks. But what I'm worried about with Monti Ossenfort is that he's too passive. And things just pass him by. And the second a player goes over his dollar a cent that he doesn't want to overspend, he's out on it. He is stuck to his budget. He is stuck to his plan. And a lot of times, it is good to have a plan. A lot of times, it is good to not overpay. But sometimes, I do think you need to be aggressive. And what does that mean? That means picking up the phone, calling the Dallas Cowboys, saying, hey, how do I get Micah Parsons from you? That's calling the Bengals and saying, all right, Trey Hendrickson, second round pick. It's a little risky, but my job is on the line next year. I think the worst thing you can do, especially in football, is be passive and wait for everything to pass you by and strategically wait for that player to become available. Because what the Rams have done over the past couple of years, the year they won the Super Bowl, they go and get Von Miller, they go and get Odell Beckham Jr. The Eagles last year, they're signing every player that they can. They're restructuring Jalen Hurts' deal so that it's not so punitive on the cap. They're trading for A.J. Brown. They're going and getting Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The Chiefs, they're trading for DeAndre Hopkins in the middle of the season. They're moving off of Tyreek Hill, but going and getting players to solidify their defense. It might not be the most popular thing to do, but what is true is aggressive wins. And the teams that are always doing the most aggressive things are almost always winning. Whether it's the Chiefs, the Eagles this year, or even a couple of years ago with the Rams. That's what needs to happen. And although a B- is a fine offseason and it's a low risk, low reward type of offseason where if none of these guys work out, you can move off of them. But I'm just stuck wanting more recently. And that just is kind of a frustrating place to be. Because with all the money that they have and with all the mobility that they have to move around, go get a Micah, go get a Trey Hendrickson, they've just standed pat. No Asante Samuel. I would like for them to go get another corner. But this is what we've had to deal with. And Monti Ossenfort, you can't be this patient because teams will pass you by with their aggressiveness. So if I'm grading the Cardinals offseason so far, it's a B-, but it feels a little incomplete. All right, guys. Thank you so much for making the Ben Garcia Show a part of your day. Few of you guys in the chat. Sean, who is very upset at me for my microphone volume. Brian, Sandman, Aaron, all you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. If there's ever a topic you guys want me to discuss, I got to be honest with you. With the way that the NFL offseason is gone, topics are hard to come by. If you guys want me to talk about a certain subject more than others, will do. I appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. Appreciate you guys talking all things Arizona Cardinals with me. All things Phoenix Suns. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Like, share, subscribe, maybe even tell a friend about the Ben Garcia Show. Appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, it's been the Ben Garcia Show.